no more would have mercy upon him, saying thus, that the holy city, talking about Jerusalem, to the which he was going in haste to lay it even with the ground, and to make it a common burying place, he would set at liberty. And as touching these Jews, or as touching the Jews, whom he had judged not worthy so much as to be buried, but to be cast out with their children, to be devoured of the fowls and wild beasts, he would make them all equals to the citizens of Athens, talking about the motherland, Greece. His motherland, you know what I'm talking about. And, now remember it said he would honor the Most High with gold. Yeah. Can you read that part again?
Okay. Verse 37.
Verse 38.
So, verse 38. But in his estate shall he honor the God of forces.
Now we see him verbally doing it. Go ahead.
And the God whom his fathers knew not shall he honor with gold.
In other words, he was going to honor the God of Israel. He was going to do it with gold. Go ahead.
And silver. And with precious stones.
Now listen to this. Okay, continue.
And pleasant things.
And pleasant things. This is verse 16. 2 Maccabees chapter 9 verse 16. And the holy temple, which before he had spoiled, he would garnish with goodly gifts and restore all the holy vessels with many more, and out of his own revenue defray the charges belonging to the sacrifices. So you see that being fulfilled. Because all the things he took was what? Took all the gold. We just read what he took in Josephus. And now listen to this. Now this is show you that this man was desperate. Verse 17. Yea, and that also he will become a Jew himself. Now he was hurting. And go for all the world that was in heaven and declare the power of God. But for all this his pains would not cease, for the just judgment of God was come upon him. Therefore, despairing of his health, he wrote unto the Jews the letter underwritten, containing the form of a supplication after this manner. And if you want to read the letter, you got to go to 2 Maccabees chapter 9, and you should start off at verses 19, and you read all the way down. All right? I'm going to stay here because it's going to say one more. It's going to go retrospect, verse 39, back to what his exploits were. Then it's going to come back and tell you he's going to be finished. So read Daniel 11, verse 39 now.
Thus shall he do in the most strongholds with a strange God.
In other words, it's telling you. When it says a stronghold and a strange God, in other words, it's going back, it's summarizing all the evil that he did with Jupiter, with Zeus, in our strongholds. Go ahead.
And the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind.
No, what verse is that? Come on, verse 39.
Verse 39.
Keep it fair.
Thus shall he do in the most strongholds with a strange God, whom he shall acknowledge and increase with glory.
In other words, this is going back talking about during the time when he was acknowledging Zeus. Alright, verse 38 was talking about what he would do in the height of his suffering. But verse 39 is going back to the mode he was in, all when he had liberty to put the people to affliction. Go ahead.
And he shall cause them to rule over many.
In other words, he calls the gods of the idols of Greece to rule over many of the people. That's what he's talking about. You see it's going back. Go ahead.
And shall divide the land for gain.
And that's what he was doing. In other words, he was taking Israel's spoils, dividing the land for gain, meaning conquering it. Go ahead.
And at the time of the end.
Now, stop. Did it say you should? What verse is that?
40.
Okay, now I'm going to show you something. I'm going to go to 2 Maccabees chapter 9, and I'm going to read verse 28. It says, thus the murderer and blasphemer, having suffered most grievously, as he entreated other men, so died he a miserable death in a strange country in the mountains. All right, because remember this, he was coming out of Parthia. All right, which today Parthia would be like, it would be like. Let me show you. That's okay. Parthia. Because I don't know what. I want to keep that map there because that's what verse 40 is talking about. God, you know what I'm saying? Let me see if I got it over here. I don't think I have it over here. Parthia is way over here. I'm sorry, let me get in front of you. You got Babylon, you got yeah, it doesn't go there. Parthia is literally bordering with India. Today, Parthia would literally be considered sort of northern. Actually, Parthia would, ain't no wonder. Parthia would be Afghanistan now. That's why they call that place historically. They call Afghanistan the place that's the land that swallows armies. The Romans couldn't get into Parthia. The Greeks couldn't get into Parthia. Parthia was the border, the bulwark that kept Rome and Greece from extending on into what would be called the Indus Valley of China, literally. And then, of course, they were bordered in by the Pacific Ocean. I'm sorry, the Atlantic Ocean with Spain and France and all the North Sea, whatever. But Parthia today would literally be considered Afghanistan. All right, that's where he died in those mountains. You know, after having been thrown out of his chariot. So now, go ahead and I want you to start reading verse 40 because we're almost done. Can you read verse 40? Because I'm just over there and stay by the map. I just need to get my things here first. You ready?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Verse 40. And at the time of the end.
Now, when it says at the time of the end, it's taking the lead. Now, why do I say this? When it says at the time of the end, I want you to come over here. It's no longer talking about the conflict that exists between the Seleucid line and the Ptolemaic line. Because the conflict between the king of the north, Syria, and the king of the south, Egypt, in a sense, it finished with Antiochus because his descendants began to fight with one another. In other words, I'm going to show you. Antiochus had a son named Antiochus V. Eupator. But what happened was Demetrius, the son of Seleucus IV, had got released from Rome. So the last line of Demetrius said, what happened? His daddy was ruling. So he came and was like, I'm the true heir. Remember, his own treasurer had killed him, and then Antiochus killed the treasurer. So, although, how can I put it, de jure, the actual line had been carried by Antiochus. He had been, in fact, sitting on the throne. So, his son did have claim to it. But from history, Seleucus was the one who succeeded Antiochus the Great. And so his son, Demetrius, and that another, the point is, the battle went from being the king of the north versus king of the south to internal wars with the Seleucid line. You understand? That's what happened. So when it says in the latter days, what do you talk? Read that again, verse 40.
Verse 40. At the time of the end shall the king of the south push at him.
Now let me say this. This, if you could take the camera on over, and I don't know how good you can get it, but I would like for this to be as much as close as possible. The whole square, you can make that the primary. Okay. The time of the end, this period is talking about, and let me say this period began with 1948, the state of Israel. I'm going to have to get my water. Can you pass me my thing, please? The state of Israel is established in 1948. Read that verse again.
Verse 40. And at the time of the end shall the king of the south push at him.
Now to show you. Upon the state of Israel being established